even going to be to be happening. There was talk as recently as maybe a week or two ago of while we were all booking flights and everything to come to LA, they were saying like this show might not happen. The writer There was a writer strike, or still a writer strike currently going on, and some of the other unions, the camera people, some of the talent unions were actually thinking about like standing in solidarity with the writers, which I hear they still will, but for whatever reason they were willing to go forward with this particular show. But there may not be any more award shows until all of this is settled. So there were no writers last night. The talent had to write their own copy. I only saw a portion of the show because I was moved around to various events, but the parts that I did see, I know that there was some like teleprompter issues where there either was no copy or people couldn't read the copy, but a lot of that was not BET or black people being sloppy. It wasn't that. Like literally, it was the missing of some key staff. But that's fine. That show is still happening and happening successfully. And call it what you will, like there was some ingenuity and some real some real talent that went into making that happen. Um, and when we talk about black excellence and all of that stuff, there is always the focus on success, right? It's the money of it. Like when we look at Puff, or we look at Jay-Z, or we look at Tyler Perry, or whatever the case may be. But I look at this particular event as an example of that. Like I said, like, hey, like we were able to pull this off. Not as a like a nanny nanny boo boo to the writers and say, hey, we didn't need you anyway, because I pray that that's not what was taken from that, but just like, hey, like when we focus, when we work together, when we plan accordingly, we can make some things happen, including a large production like an award show. So I'm curious not only about your opinions of last night's show, and again, not to get lost in the minutia of the individual moments, but like the overall quality of the show, knowing what went into it. Like, how do you market? Like, hey, we can pull this together. What I mean, I know Isaac, generally
Can you
speaking,
hear
will
me?
have something, a lot to say about something like this. But I'm curious about everybody that's here on the panel. Kiki in particular, I'm curious because I know Kiki, you're a part of a lot of large productions, and I know you would absolutely feel the effects of something like this. Hollywood as well. I'm curious about you two in particular. Like, what did you think about last night's show and the ability to pull it off, and and how to what that looks like moving forward?
I didn't see it. I'm gonna listen to Kiki and see what she says first. I didn't watch it yet. I have to watch some clips today.
Okay.
Um, I did watch it. Well, I watched most of it late last night, but I've been watching replays of it. And to be honest, I think I've always thought BET was just like exceptional when it comes to just obviously the culture, the talent, the performances. Like overall, we always, to me, deliver in the space of like what they cater to, whether it's the artist, it's the performances, it's the whole shiny glitz and glam, it's like makeup, hair, like everything is so, to me, top tier. And
Hmm.
regardless of them not having the writers, which was cool that they even mentioned it for people that were watching and was like, okay, what's happening, to know that that does play a role in the whole production, and they do have an important role. But the fact that they were able to pull off such a large production to that capacity and make it seem seamless, obviously it's not going to be a perfect show from top to bottom, and you may see your little hiccups here and there. That's natural, and I don't think there's never a show that's never going to have that. But overall, I was really happy with the performances, like just having um obviously I come from a dance background, so just even seeing how much of a magnitude the dancing had played a role in a lot of the performances, which again for me coming from a dance background, I'm like, we play a really huge part in the production side of artists. Like imagine no dancers last night, and what are you watching? Like what
Right.
was going to be. So yeah, I loved it. My personal opinion, I think they did a great job, regardless of what missing links were there, and just knowing that we can get shit done when we got to get it done. When our backs against the wall, we always come through.
That's right.
I totally
Um,
agree with that 100%. I was just gonna piggyback off of that. Like, I didn't watch it, but like my mom, she was watching it, and like just her like reaction, the fact that she was so entertained. Like, I did see a little bit of it, like when they was doing the dancing, the kid and play, and they was just going through the ages. Like, I feel like they did a really good job of like capturing what's happening. Like what's really popular right now, which is like, dances, line dances, different things like that. But also being able to incorporate like all the different stages of like hip hop and BET and like everything like that. So I thought it was really cool. I think that they did a great job, and you can't tell that like it was any chaos going on in the background at all. Like, it just looked like they just put on a really good show.
Oh shit! I'm sitting here looking at one of these I just got a news update that said Patti LaBelle was trying to do that Tina Turner tribute last night, and it was a hot mess because she couldn't see the words or couldn't read the teleprompter.
Oh
Right.
dang, that's
Yeah, it was something
crazy.
going on with the words. So the writers are finna start dropping bombs today, even though the show, I'm saying, one of these. I can
yeah,
appreciate the
as they
fact that
should.
yeah, I can appreciate the fact that it did go on and they did mention it. They didn't try to act like there was no writer strike. Like there is an incredible party of creativity that's affected. Like I like the fact that they at least mentioned it and maybe considered standing, you know what I'm saying, in solidarity, but did allow, our show to go on. You know what I'm saying? So I can appreciate that, like the small bit of solidarity.
Yeah, the writers are doing what they absolutely should be doing, and I don't want to take that away from them. Like I didn't even realize me personally. I mean, I only know two writers, and one of them is a pretty close relationship. The other one is a kind of an acquaintance. So I honestly, in all these years, never even thought of the significance of having a writer, of just those things. When you watch those award shows, especially from a fan standpoint, I ain't even talking about being in the industry. But when you watch those shows, you just kind of assume things are just quote unquote kind of happening, and I forget that like, oh, somebody's writing the little, the short blurb before they get to okay, and now the nominees. Those little jokes in between the things that the host was saying. If y'all noticed, there was no host last night. There was so much went on that involved the writers that I didn't even take into consideration until literally yesterday.
Right.
And as I was here in LA, kind of talking to people, and people who live out here and are really kind of tapped into that industry and like deal with it on a day-to-day basis, because Atlanta is very music driven. All we worry about is producers and writers, and producers and songwriters and rappers or whatnot. But out here, it's more of a production industry. So those production people were moving around in the city, and they were talking about it, and I heard it spoken of in context that I hadn't heard before, and I'm like, oh man, I didn't even think about that. I didn't know a writer did that, or that was a writer's responsibility, and this, that, and the third. Like, I mean, hell, Snoop Dogg had a show that was supposed to take place tomorrow and Wednesday. He was doing like a 30th anniversary of the Doggy Style album, which is like one of my favorite, probably top five. It's definitely top five of like my favorite hip hop albums. But he was gonna do it like front to back, do like a whole thing with Dr. Dre and Dog Pound and whatnot. He canceled the show and pushed it back to October in solidarity with the writer's strike. That's how people are canceling concerts. I don't even know what again.
Wow.
Maybe I'm stupid. I don't even know what writers have to do with him performing a concert. But again, he stood in solidarity. So it's weird that they actually went through and did the show. So I don't know what kind of backlash or support they'll receive. But it's it's way more intricate than I initially was aware of. And to see, like I said, to see that it was actually pulled off, I guess my question to you guys would be: do you market that? You know what I'm saying? Knowing what you did and what you were able to accomplish, and also knowing that you would be doing it kind of in the face of a writer strike. Do you today take a victory lap and say, guys, look at what we were able to do? And like I said, again, we're talking about it from a marketing standpoint because that's what this call is about. But do you take the victory lap and say, look at us and what we were able to do and accomplish in the face of this? Or do you kind of shut your mouth, keep your head down, and just thank God that you got through it? What do y'all think?
Hey, Nick, this is Bentley. Good morning,
Bentley,
everyone.
what up? What you
Hey,
talking about?
Bentley.
What's up, y'all? Hey, man, I'm saying I'm like, oh man, Nick, can I pick like option C, like both of your statements above?
Yeah,
All right,
Okay.
it is a commendable round of applause and clapping for the culture for what was done in the midst of this writers basically diaspora. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying? It
agreed.
was great to see us pull this together without the true normal elements. You know me, Nick, I have a strong 20 years in public relations. So yes, writing has much more credibility and position relativity and responsibility that most people don't know. And
Hmm.
I'm one of the ones that are always writing copy for people. So yes, everything you see on the teleprompters, every show that you really see, there are writers, and then they're part of unions. And so you go with your union because they protect your wages. As a creative, we all understand and know that we wish we had someone else out here helping to protect our creative intellectual property.
See that.
And so that is where they come into play. So I'm saying yes, clap, because for the culture we did that. Everything else has honestly kind of been like shut down. Some shows have been moved around, concerts have been moved, different various things have been moved. Broadway is like in a flucture because I mean, hey, they make their money doing this. I mean millions of others do the same thing. They put your head down and continue to go back to work, because there's many things that we need to do as a culture versus just honestly, to be honest, slapping something together when we have enough professionals to be able to source what we need. Okay, this is a lesson learned for our culture because we've always been able to, on the production, executive production side, been able to go to our writer friends and et cetera, et cetera. But now they're taking a stand, so you can't even go to them. Some of them are not even eating right now because they are really taking this strike very serious. You get what I'm saying? So no, keep your head down if you don't want to get into somewhat of a backlash and people basically saying you're the reason why. Also too, we have to have writer unions because I mean y'all will hire us for $2, but y'all just got paid $20. You get what I'm saying? And that's the problem. So it's almost like a yes, heck yeah, clap. I really think that the show was needed right now, especially also for our culture as a people, because we don't have much to celebrate about us. We don't have many avenues. We do have opportunities. We got, things, but on a mainstream scale, this is huge for the culture, irregardless of what we saw as mishaps for us professionals. We see all the things that's wrong. Overall, people really technically enjoyed the show, and of course, it's BET, so you're going to get the culture, meaning that you're going to get our mishaps, you're going to get our glory, you're going to see us stomp our toes, you're going to see us get our hair pulled, you're going to see all of that. You get to see the couples fighting because they're really mad. Like, this is not a show, this is real life.
Yeah,
But
you there.
to get to your answer, to sum this up, both of your statements, yes, clap, but also put your head down, BET, and honestly begin to truly support the ones who are on the back end of this, making sure that your show goes on without a host. And what we don't know is that is kind of somewhat hard to keep people generated through a show without someone guiding them. But production does the guiding. The host is really just a face for the 25, 30 people in the back, making sure the show goes on. So great job on doing the show without a host. I was like, when is the host going to pop out? Like, where's Monique? Like,
Right.
what's going to happen? But I enjoyed
Yep.
it for the most part.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. So
And like, and oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I mean, I'm going to borrow what Bentley said. I was going to say the same thing. Definitely both. So the thing that's interesting about the whole writers things, and for the sake of the audience, this is Duran speaking. So there's a production company. Yeah, how's it going, family? There's a production company as well. So I know for a lot of shows, Dick Clark Productions typically takes the helm on a lot of TV shows. And what I think with the BET Awards, Jesse Collins Entertainment is the producer for the BET Awards, which is cool because that's led by a black person, opposed to Dick Clark Productions. So what I'm interested in learning is like who's responsible for the particular writers. Is the production company responsible for having a specific set of writers and compensating that payment towards the writers? The other thing I find interesting is the that thin line between the music writers and the film script writers or the TV production script writers. So I wouldn't have known, and this is my first time even knowing that. And I've been involved with a lot of the BET the BET weekend events here in LA, I wouldn't have known they didn't have writers until Nick said something about it. So in that sense, there is something to actually celebrate because it allows them to see that they can definitely pull it off. Because I didn't know that they didn't have any writers. So I said, oh, okay, the award show was cool. And connected to that, this is also an opportunity for them to find some new young talent that may not have had the opportunity because they didn't have that connection where it's probably 100 writers in the Rolodex of the production company, and if they choose 20, they still have 80 more writers to select from out of that 100 before they even look at new people. So now it's an opportunity for that young talent to step to the forefront and say, hey, we have talent here and we want to actually work with BET, and we've been willing to work with BET for a long time. In addition to that, two more final points. In addition to that, I don't see this being a problem moving forward because if Tyler Perry is in fact the new owner of BET, this is just something he's not going to allow to transpire. He's one of those ones that like to take care of business from end to end. So I can see this at the very least for BET, the entity BET. I can see this situation being fixed by the time BET Awards 2024 come around. Now on the quiet side, yeah, I don't think that they should move forward with just boasting about it. And I'm a very aggressive, slap a person in the face when you did something type of individual. But because they didn't have a writer and they pulled it off and they're not bragging about it, this will give people the opportunity to give them a shot. Because, if they start bragging, people are going to start finding all of the things that were wrong. Like, oh,
That's
since now
right,
you're bragging.
Duran. That's right. You're right.
Now you're bragging. This is what you did wrong. So they can definitely take private solace in the fact that they pulled it off, and just take this opportunity to be a bit strategic. And preferably, Tyler Perry does own this thing 100%. And I don't see this being a problem moving forward. I'm going on mute.
I
Okay.
think you can. Sorry.
No, go ahead,
I
Dan.
think
No,
you can always respect what was going on, and you can even in your promoting of yourself, you can highlight their issue and promote them. You can say, "We had our friends in this situation, and our friends are critical to us, but our friends supported us going ahead with this event to an extent that we pulled it off, and we still did it, but we need them and we need them back." And you can go that direction and highlight your successes, but you can actually highlight their issue too.
Yeah.
that's a hell of a response. I love that.
Yeah.
That's actually, and I think that's, damn, you nailed it. I think that's exactly how you should proceed, and I think they will. I was going to say only to Duran's point that this wasn't a BET writer strike. This was a industry wide writer strike. So it wasn't like a BET problem. This was like literally other productions across entertainment are all canceling. BET was the only one who decided to move forward, which is why there was no host, there was no, there were a lot of things that, talent was asked to write their own copy. There was a lot of things that would happen that were not necessarily specific to BET. It was just happening across the industry. One of the conversations that I was privy to yesterday, and one of the reasons that they said that the show went on was because if you cancel the BET Awards, there really isn't anything else in the industry that will honor black entertainment achievements.
Black people. Yeah.
Grammy season has already passed. Grammy, we've already seen that. So like, there's nothing really left. This is it. For us. So if you cancel it, essentially there's nothing that gets honored this year. And it was kind of like, entertainment moves so fast. There will be new music made, new movies made, new everything, and then you cancel this show. It's not like, oh, we'll just catch them next year. You know what I'm saying? It'll be time to honor the new people or
Yeah,
the new
and the
things that are
writer's
released.
strike, the writer's strike started like May 2nd. So like this pre-production had already been in the
Uh huh.
works. So it would have been really difficult to
Facts.
like go back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was. I mean, literally, they were talking about moving this thing literally to the Bahamas. That's what I heard at one point. I'm like possibly moving it to circumvent, all of the
Now
some of the red tape and the politics of it. But
that would have looked
that
bad.
I mean, this had the potential to be a disaster last night. So like I said, I do think there is a need to, or there is a like, there should be some pats on the back to go around that this was able to be done. But like you said, it shouldn't be, we did it. We didn't need y'all anyway. It
Connect,
can't be that.
compete, and
But like you
create with
said, you
LFG
do need those
Nexus,
people in
the
production
social
and talking about
platform for
people's
all.
livelihoods and jobs that Bentley
LFG
spoke to as
Nexus
well
is a
earlier. Like
cloud-based platform that
this is
lets
people's
gamers
career
connect and
that you don't
share
want to
their
start.
gaming
You don't want
experiences
this to
with
be
other
added to
gamers.
other people's life well, I guess if
LFG
BET can
Nexus
do it, we
allows
don't need
gamers to
right either.
find
So
and
now
join
you really
gaming
got a problem.
sessions with
Yeah,
other
because I think
gamers
there might be
without
an
having to leave the
opportunity, like
comfort
you
of
said,
home
to
or
highlight
use
all
another
the points
platform.
where people stepped up
Gamers
and
will
were
be
able to
able to
get it
find
done.
like-minded
But
gamers and join
like
in
you
with them in a
said,
matter of minutes.
also highlight the points where this
LFG
is where
Nexus
we
made for
needed them.
gamers
This is
by
where we needed
gamers.
them. This is where we needed them. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
like you definitely need a
Connect,
two-sided
compete, and
type
create with LFG
you
Nexus,
definitely need a
the
two-sided
social
type of take.
platform for all.
But you definitely should
LFG Nexus is a
appreciate everybody that stepped
cloud-based
up, especially the
platform that lets
talent
gamers
that has still agreed to do it
connect and
and
share their
that wrote their
gaming
own copy and all this
experiences
other stuff. Like
with other
you definitely
gamers.
want to show them some love and appreciate them and all the executives
LFG
that stepped
Nexus
up and things of
allows
that
gamers to
nature,
find
and
and
appreciate people for
join gaming
watching in the middle of the
sessions with
strike as
other
well.
gamers without
But
having
like
to
you
leave the
said, you want
comfort
to
of
take
home
this
or
opportunity
use another
to
platform.
find some middle ground and
Gamers will
stand in
be able to
solidarity and
find
uplift
like-minded
the ones
gamers
that you
and
know you're going to need
join
to
in
run the
with them in a
goddamn
matter of
network the rest of
minutes.
the year.
So
That,
so Nick and
yeah,
Kiki, so Nick
LFG
and
and
Kiki,
Nexus
is
part.
made
this
for
the same
gamers
strife
by
that was
gamers.
brewing from when the writers were upset with Spotify and streaming?
Connect,
It's
compete,
similar.
and
That was
create
That
with
was music.
LFG
yeah, it's
Nexus,
similar. Yeah.
the social
No, I know
platform
that.
for
I'm saying
all.
it's when he said industry wide. I'm thinking film
Oh
LFG
industry.
no.
Nexus is a
This was
cloud-based
specific
platform that
to
lets gamers
television
connect and
Yeah.
Got it.
share
Okay.
their
But
gaming
yeah,
television and
experiences
film in
with
particular. I'm
other
sorry, television
yeah,
gamers.
and
but
film.
from what I understand, it's the exact
LFG
same thing
Nexus
where it's
allows
just like,
gamers to
all right,
find
we
and
get
join
paid to
gaming
write on a
sessions
network
with other
television show
gamers
this much,
without
so on and
having
so
to
forth.
leave the comfort
But once if
of
we wrote on a
home or
product and
use
then it
another
hits
platform.
fucking Netflix and
Gamers
they
will be
stream
able to
it
find
4 billion
like-minded gamers
times,
and
like
join
where
in
are
with
my
them in a
residuals
matter of
type of thing. So the
minutes.
same
Right.
thing that
LFG Nexus
that
made for
music industry
gamers
artists
by
and
gamers.
talent are complaining about with regards to streams, that's where they are with film and television. They're
Connect,
trying to figure
compete,
out
and create with
streaming.
LFG
Like, what does
Yeah.
that
Nexus,
Yeah.
look like from a
The,
streaming platform
social
standpoint?
the residuals are horrible.
platform for
Like
Yeah,
all.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. They're
So
horrible.
LFG
yeah, so I don't know if they know.
Enough.
Nexus is a
Yeah, I don't know
cloud-based
if they know
platform
what
that
to
lets
do
gamers
because hell,
connect
music
and
still
share
haven't figured it
their
out.
gaming
Listen.
experiences with
And
other
nobody knows. They
gamers.
only know to negotiate or hold out and
Yes.
say, "Look, pay us more,
LFG
Yep.
and
Nexus
then
allows
we'll come back to
gamers
work."
to
That's kind of
find
like
and join
their
gaming
last,
sessions with other gamers
this kind of a
without
last resort type of thing. Nobody wants
having
to
to
stop
leave the
working because when you
comfort of
stop working, you
home
stop getting
or
paid.
use another platform.
But it's hey, even when we are
Gamers will
working,
be
we're
able to
not
find
really making the
like-minded
money that we
gamers and join
could
in with
slash
them in
should. So
matter of
that's kind of the
minutes.
issue that they're that they're protesting right
LFG
now.
Nexus
And
made
like I
for
said,
gamers by
and
gamers.
the one thing about film and television that I've noticed that I don't necessarily see in music is
Connect,
these unions
compete, and
really stick
create with
together.
LFG
So
Nexus,
like I said, the camera
the
people
social
are also
platform for
complaining
all.
about like not participating at all because they want to stand in solidarity
LFG
with the
Nexus is a
writers because they
cloud-based
need,
platform
whenever
that
they're
lets
gonna have to strike, they
gamers
want people to
connect
stand
and
with
share
them.
their gaming
So it's a lot of
experiences
politics
with
involved
other
as well. It's like, okay,
gamers.
cool. What is the what's the
LFG
result
Nexus
of
allows
BT
gamers to
going through with this
find and
show? What
join gaming
happens? And
sessions
BT
with
gets
other
into
gamers
the
without
writers, the camera
having to
people,
leave the comfort
the
of
lighting
home
people, all
or
the
use
unions
another
say, well, fuck y'all. Y'all went ahead and tried to do that show
platform.
without us. Well,
Gamers will be able
you
to
guys on
find
your own. You know
like-minded
what I'm saying? We're not
gamers
going to
and join
support you.
in
So
with them in
there's a
matter of
lot of
minutes.
behind the scenes
LFG Nexus made for gamers
handling
by gamers.
about it. But the only reason I even brought this to the attention of people today was
Connect,
because
compete, and
what I
create
do
with
know is
LFG
I know
Nexus,
us.
the
I know Black
social
Twitter and
platform for
tech,
all.
and we're the most
LFG
critical
Nexus
of
is
each
a
other.
cloud-based
Oh
platform
yes.
that lets gamers
I'm
connect
sure
and
you guys have seen
share their gaming
some of the,
experiences with other
we see it every
gamers.
year. I don't care how good the show. I've seen some amazing BT
LFG
award shows.
Nexus
I've seen some
allows
ones that I
gamers
was
to
like, man,
find and join gaming
that was a rough
sessions
watch.
with other
It don't matter.
gamers
Like I said, the
without
people
having
we're
to
gonna dog it.
leave the
We're gonna
comfort of
talk crazy
home
about it because that's kind of what we do
or use
in
another
the name of
platform.
jokes and retweets. You know what I'm saying?
Gamers
Even if we
will
like
be
it,
able to
we do
find
that little jab
like-minded
to
gamers
get
and
some
join
approval.
in with
But
them in matter of
this is one of
minutes.
those times where when somebody says, "Why
LFG
they do this
Nexus
and why
made
they do
for
that," it's kind
gamers
of like,
by
well, you should
gamers.
know that the reason that there wasn't a host was not BT too
Connect,
cheap to hire
compete,
a
and
host.
create with
BT ain't got
LFG
no money. Look
Nexus,
at this. Just why they
the
selling it in
social
Tyler Perry. They ain't
platform
got
for
no money.
all.
Like, no, the reason they didn't have a host
LFG
because of the
Nexus is
writers.
a
Facts.
cloud-based
The reason
platform
that there
that
were,
lets
the
gamers connect
transitions were a
and share
little
their gaming
choppy. The reason that
experiences
there
with
ain't any
other
teleprompter
gamers.
issues or whatever. It's not just BT too cheap to get
LFG
it right or
Nexus allows
BT team
gamers to
isn't
find
talented
and
enough to
join
get it
gaming
right. There
sessions
was an
with other
actual
gamers without
industry-wide
having to
issue
leave the
happening
comfort of home
that can explain
or
some
use
of
another
the
platform.
mistakes or some of the issues that were
Gamers will
happening,
be
and
able
I
to
think
find
that gives you
like-minded
context
gamers
before
and
you
join in with them
evaluate
in matter of
how
minutes.
good or bad something was.
And
LFG
it gives an
Nexus made for
opportunity
gamers
to,
like
like you said, give that
gamers.
context on purpose, be intentional about how this can be a learning, teaching moment. You
Connect,
know what I'm
compete,
saying?
and
Yep.
create with
I
LFG
think there's an
Nexus,
opportunity to step
the
behind
social
that.
platform for
Since you
all.
already did your shit, you already did your party. Now you can,
LFG Nexus is a
try to
cloud-based
educate
platform
people
that
so they
lets
understand like
gamers
what the
connect and
difference
share
is
their
between a
gaming
writer's strike and just
experiences
not
with
hiring
other
talent.
gamers.
Right.
But
LFG Nexus
And
We
allows
at that
gamers
point,
to
Gary.
find
Let's start bringing some people up to the
Right.
stage.
and
yes,
Well,
sir.
join gaming
Yes,
sessions
please. If you
with
would
other
like to
gamers
speak, I saw
without
a
having to
couple
leave
people
the
with their
comfort
hands
of
raised. Please
home
hit that
or
button
use
again.
another
Let's get you up here on
platform.
stage.
can
Gamers will
Adrena
be
share real
able to
quick
find
insight I
like-minded
got? Hi
gamers
y'all.
and join in
So
what's up?
Good morning.
with them in
one
matter
of
of
the lead hey
minutes.
y'all, one of the lead writers of
LFG
the
Nexus
BT
made for
Awards in June
gamers
and also
by
October,
gamers.
I believe, is comedian and then some, Tyler Chronicles.
Connect,
And I
compete,
know I
and create
picked
with
on
LFG
Tyler's
Nexus,
IG stories,
the social platform for
just him like
all.
being in one of the production rooms,
LFG
I guess,
Nexus is a
doing
cloud-based
controls and stuff like
platform
that
that
he
lets
does. And
gamers
I
connect
know
and
for
share their
sure
gaming
with Tig,
experiences with
the
other
big ticker,
gamers.
I can't
LFG
remember what the
Nexus
category was. I haven't seen the
allows
full show because
gamers
I
to
was also
find
working yesterday, but I've seen
and
glimpses on Twitter
join
about
gaming
highlights and all that from the
sessions
show.
with other
I know Twitter
gamers
presented
without
Beyonce
having to
with
leave the
get the
comfort of
category, but
home
it was for
or
Break for My
use
Soul,
another
obviously.
platform.
I don't want to get the
Gamers will
category
be able
title
to
wrong, so
find
if I'm saying
like-minded
it, just know it was
gamers
for
and
Beyonce,
join in with
obviously her
them in
honor.
matter of
So Tig
minutes.
presented Tyler and Tig, of course, are really good friends, and Tyler's just dope altogether. But Tyler is one of the main
LFG
people that, as
Nexus made
far
for
as like,
gamers
yeah, some of
by
the transitions
gamers.
between performances were choppy and stuff like that. But had Tyler and the team,
Connect,
been fully,
compete, and
operating
create with
capacity with
LFG
their particular
Nexus,
roles and
the social
usual roles for the BET Awards last night,
platform for
we would have
all.
had, the jokes in and stuff like that. So just big up to Tyler
LFG Nexus
Chronicles,
is a
who is
cloud-based
just super dope
platform
wherever
that
he
lets
is. Somewhere in
gamers
LA still,
connect and
probably,
share their gaming
because he's not back in
experiences
Atlanta
with
yet, I
other
think.
gamers.
But Tyler Chronicles and his writing team, big dope. Like they do a
LFG
lot of
Nexus
the
allows gamers to find and join
what's called the
gaming
writing for
sessions
the BET
with other
Awards
gamers
in June,
without
and
having
also
to
the Hip
leave
Hop Awards
the
in
comfort
October,
of home
if I'm not
or use
mistaken.
another
And then
platform.
two, we do have the Black
Gamers
Music
will be
Honors.
able to find like-minded
Missy was just
gamers and
honored
join
back
in
in
with them
May because
in
I was
matter
there. I
of
was live. I
minutes.
was there live for the taping at the Cobb Energy Performing
LFG
Arts
Nexus
Center
made
last
for
month
gamers by
for the Black
gamers.
Music Honors. It's run by a Black-owned production and network and all of that. I forget the
Connect,
name of the
compete,
company.
and create with
And then
TV1.
LFG
Jeffrey Osborne.
Nexus,
I'm sorry.
the
I
social
said that
platform
TV1.
for all.
No, it's not TV1.
LFG Nexus is a
Don't
cloud-based
get me. I'm
platform
not even
that
looking
lets
at it right
gamers
now.
connect
The
and
network
share their
is the
gaming
Stellar Network. Yeah, the
experiences
Stellar
with
Network.
other gamers.
Um, did the production and all of that for the Black Music Honors that
LFG
aired.
Nexus allows
It's
gamers to
airing on
find
Bounce TV and everything
and
else, but
join
it
gaming
taped live here in
sessions
Atlanta
with
at the
other
Cobb Energy
gamers
Performing
without
Arts Center
having to
May
leave the
19th because I was
comfort of
there.
home
Missy
or use
got
another
honored, Jeffrey
platform.
Osborne, and
Gamers will be
otherwise, and of
able
course
to
tributes were
find
done by Little
like-minded
Mo,
gamers
the
and
Brat,
join
of
in with them in
course,
matter of
and
minutes.
it was just really nice. It was nicely done and all of that.
LFG
So
Nexus
we
made for
thankfully do
gamers
have,
by
of course,
gamers.
BT for all that BT does, and it's going to be evolving, as Tyler takes over and
Connect,
all of that, and when
compete,
he
and
does.
create
And then, of
with
course, we also have
LFG Nexus,
the
the
Dopest of the Black
social
Music Honors,
platform
and
for
this was
all.
like their eighth one. This was their eighth annual Black Music Honors that
LFG
just
Nexus is a
was done live
cloud-based
here in
platform
Atlanta
that
in the
lets
past
gamers
month.
connect
And
and
so
share their
I wanted to kind
gaming
of give that insight
experiences
on
with
things.
other
And then as far as
gamers.
like, to support and
LFG
be loud and
Nexus
proud
allows
about your
gamers
role
to
in last
find and
night's
join
awards, whatever
gaming
your role was,
sessions
whether
with other
performer or
gamers without
whatever
having to
else. I
leave
know
the
for
comfort of
Tyler, I
home
know,
or
a
use
lot of his
another
faves,
platform.
from Busta Rhymes, whoever else.
Gamers will be able to find like-minded
You're
gamers
not
and
gonna not
join in with them
support
in
and be
matter of minutes.
still a fan, of your favorite artist that performed last night or
LFG
received an
Nexus
award
made
and
for
all of that.
gamers by
So even though
gamers.
he didn't get to be at his full capacity, being
Connect,
the dope writer
compete,
that
and
he is
create with
in
LFG
entertainment and everything
Nexus,
else, he
the
still, of
social
course, is going
platform
to
for
big up
all.
the people that he saw get honored last night, one way
LFG
or
Nexus
another.
is a
And of
cloud-based
course, red carpet
platform that
stuff was
lets
super dope
gamers
and everything
connect
else.
and
So
share their
I think there's
gaming
a good way to
experiences
be.
with other gamers.
Yeah, it's tough, but I think it's still
LFG
possible
Nexus
to,
allows gamers to find and join gaming
support
sessions with other
in however way
gamers
you feel
without
fit.
having to leave the
That's all I
comfort of
wanted to say.
home or
I
use another
definitely think so
platform.
as well. I appreciate that.
Gamers will be able
We got a young brother on
to
stage,
find
Mr.
like-minded
Weeks.
gamers
Welcome
and
back.
join
He's
in with
a
them in matter of
actor,
minutes.
writer, all
LFG
around artist.
Nexus
Where
made
you calling
for
from this morning, my
gamers
brother?
by gamers.
Welcome back from LA Fitness. What's up, y'all? In Atlanta, Georgia.
Thanks
Connect,
for having me
compete,
back,
and
my brother.
create
So
with
yeah,
LFG
would you like to
Nexus,
add some
the
insight
social
to
platform for all.
this conversation?
LFG Nexus is a cloud-based platform that lets gamers connect and share their gaming experiences with other gamers.
LFG Nexus allows gamers to find and join gaming sessions with other gamers without having to leave the comfort of home or use another platform. Gamers will be able to find like-minded gamers and join in with them in matter of minutes.
LFG Nexus made for gamers like gamers.
Connect, compete, and create with LFG Nexus, the social platform for all.
LFG Nexus is a cloud-based platform that lets gamers connect and share their gaming experiences with other gamers.
LFG Nexus allows gamers to find and join gaming sessions with other gamers without having to leave the comfort of home or use another platform. Gamers will be able to find like-minded gamers and join in with them in matter of minutes.
LFG Nexus made for gamers like gamers.
Connect, compete, and create with LFG Nexus.